I'm ready for my close up, Mr. DeVille. I love that scene in that movie. Here I am. I'm back. Doing another ABW tape. Anything but writing tape. I had to start over for some reason. I'm just not getting right light. I think I don't know. I'm out of position for some reason. I don't know, but I think I got it this time. I had the computer turned kind of weird. Um, well, what I should really experiment with, I have a really good camera. I don't know why I don't use that. This is just easier, and I don't have to worry about uploading. Let's see. Friday, I had a lot of business to take care of. I went to um, I had to go downtown. I had to go to the courthouse to take care of some it's just a technicality, something I have to go to court for and clean up. Uh, it's no big deal, but it's just something I have to do, you know. And also, I'm going to go to driving school. So I had to go to the driving school. This particular one we have out here is it's taught by police officers, traffic police officers. So you know, that's a good deal. And I had to go and get a copy of their rates, you know, and that kind of thing. And of course, both things were on different sides of town. You know, when you're commuting, it's hard. And but I got all that done, and then I had to stop by the store. And then after I did that, then I finally got home just in time enough to get something to eat really quick, and then pop over to the Christmas party. And it was really a lot of fun. Actually, I won a gift certificate to one of the better little restaurants, little bistros, I guess you would call it, we have here, not Mickey D's or nothing, you know, like that, but a good one. And I'm gonna save that for the treat for myself. For after Christmas, I'll go over. They have really good soups and breads and you know real kind of food like that. So I'll go over and get something. That'll be a nice treat for after the holiday. Um, Pretty much that's it. I haven't been doing a lot of writing. What I ended up doing was actually last night was really interesting. I met this really interesting guy over in the like I said, I go over to the we have a office center kind of thing. There's a computer there and a you know a print you know a printer and it's there's a big you know meeting table people have meetings, a big board meeting like table and that kind of thing, you know. And over there and then over here is where like the gym and the big lounge where we had the parties, the cabana, the pool and the sauna and I said already the gym and where the masseuse works and the theater, all that stuff's over here on this side. um and I met this guy yesterday over there. I usually take my headphones because a lot of the stuff I like to listen to on YouTube, the language gets kind of rough sometimes. Oh, and speaking of the computer over there, I had the other day tried to, I was looking for I knew it was a specific prayer that you said for Hanukkah. I didn't know what it was. And so I went over there and I don't hook my computer to anybody else's printer. You know, I'm not going to get any viruses on my computer. And I went over to print out this prayer and it wouldn't let me go to the website. It said it was a religious website. Now I can see the parental controls if I'd been trying to go to a porn site or something, but come on, idiots. You know, I mean, I guess they just don't want to be liable for anything, but why couldn't you go to a religious a site? Um, and then I thought, well, maybe it's because it's a Jewish, you know, site. You know, there's anti-Semitism everywhere, you know. So, but I didn't try to go to a Catholic one either because I'm just like, well, poo on that. I don't need that. I'll just, you know, I'll look it up on my computer and just write it out, you know, or something like that. But I was really surprised. And it had something popped up and it said, tell your parent why you want to go to this site. I mean, and it never occurred to me to put parental, uh, whatever you call them, on any computer that my son used. You know, he had a computer when we first got our very first computer in, I think about 94 was our first personal computer that we had. And I did have it in my room. And one of the reasons I had it in my room was for that specific purpose, because if it was in his room, I mean, they say put it in a common area, but it had been in his room. Number one, I would have to sit in his horrible room to work, but I also would have had to knock on the door of his room. And I gave him, the little lecture, don't meet anybody, go out and physically meet anybody, don't give anybody your real address, don't leave this house to go meet anyone, don't give them your real telephone number, don't give them your real name, the kind of lecture. And he just had sense enough, and it wouldn't have ever have occurred to me to put any kind of parental, but I guess the kids have to nowadays. But I mean, they can get around. If they want to see porn, they can go to the public library and get porn. But I guess the company just doesn't want to be liable for anything. That's what I'm thinking. And but why you couldn't go to a religious site is beyond me. But anyway, whatever. um and I met this guy over there when I was over there last night, and he'd been drinking and was kind of sad. He told me that he had had sexual trauma by another man when he was in the military. And I just, that just totally blew me away. We talked for a little while, and then he left because I really wanted to get some work done. And he left. And when I came back here to my building, he was downstairs, and we talked a little bit more. And then he was asking me, he wanted some change. We have soda machines and, water machines and those kind of things, snack machines in our lobby. And I said, no, I don't have any change. We just had a little conversation. I said, well, I do have a little bit of cranberry juice in my fridge. You can have that. And so he said, cool. So, I'm not stupid. I took my phone with me, and I met him in his apartment, and I took it up to him. And very interesting guy. Had been in the Navy, had been in the Army, and we spoke a few words and came down. But it just really made me sad. It just really made me think about, I mean, I know I'm nuts, but you know so anyway, I have been. Oh, and the Christmas party was really fun. We played those stupid games, where two people have to wrap a present and put their hand behind their back. This was Friday night, and put their hands, one hand behind their back, and or wrap a gift. Those kind of games, and the one with the dice where you roll them and you put the different put the oven mitts and the hat on. Anyway, it was a really fun game. We did that, and people really wore the craziest sweaters. I mean, some of them were just out of control, with battery packs and things lighting up. I mean, just incredible. It was just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed myself. That was Friday, but I was so tired. I mean, I look at the pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, girl. But I just looked so tired because I just been on the run all day Friday, and then just had a few minutes. But I wanted to go because I wanted to take some pictures to put on Facebook, and also I wanted to um, take some pictures for the for the just kind of archive. I kind of want to, because I know this is absolutely the last Christmas I know I'll spend here. So I did that. And I put some on my Facebook. And no, I haven't done my Facebook for this yet, nor have I done I'm not going to do MySpace. I might do a website according to what's going on, I don't know. But anyway, I haven't been doing that much writing, but I have been kind of thinking. And I watched, I think I said I watched The Boy in the Striped Pajamas the other day. Um, and I watched yesterday, or was it Friday? Yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, no, it was I know it was yesterday. Friday, I did nothing but run up and down the street all day. I watched Escape from Sobibor, and it's based on a true story. Of course, it was a drama because it's the movie, but it was based on a true story, because a lot of times it's kind of insinuated that the Jews just wandered around and just let this kind of happen to them. And I mean, we all know about the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. We all know about that. But this was a smaller camp in eastern Poland, and it was a death camp. And so basically, everybody that arrived on these trains, everybody that arrived on the trains, were put to death unless you were a shoemaker or a seamstress, or had some skill they needed. They needed, and it was just to get myself back into the mindset, because like I said before, I don't want to over romanticize. That's the reason why I decided to put the part about the camp in there, was because I didn't want to over romanticize um, what had happened, to the Jewish people. I didn't want to, because the first couple of drafts were just about the relationship between the officer and my, the Parisian, the performer, kind of Josephine Baker-esque character. Um, it was all about them. But then one day, I don't know how it came to me. Suddenly it came to me that, another diet which will make this more serious, and make it more feasible, would be to add something, add something about the camp. And like I said before, I've done a lot of research in that stuff, but I don't have enough expertise to actually write a nonfiction book. So I figured this is a way that I could, kind of work on this and get this, you know, um, uh, weaved into the story. And like I've said before, when the man and his wife get there, that's when they really discover the true meaning of love, of caring for each other, taking care of each other, because they actually have need each other to survive. And Sobibor was like I said before, it was a death camp. What the people did was, which was brilliant, was they decided that they all had to. It was a small camp, like 700 people, something like that. And what they decided was they had to all escape. That they couldn't, 15 or 20 of them leave, because the people left behind would be retaliated against. So what they did was they decided, look, we all have to go. We just all have to, go. And basically, what they did was brilliant. They really figured it out. There was about 15, 16 actually Nazi guards, and then there were Ukrainian soldiers who were also armed. And then they had, of course, the capos, and which was what the Nazis would do is they actually had Jews police each other. They had the Jews do the dirty work, you know, uh, uh, pulling the bodies out the gas chambers, and putting them in the ovens and raking out the ashes. And they made them do these things. They made them do these things. And a capo was like an overseer. That's the only word I can think of that we could probably relate to. And one of them really helped in the escape, and so they just basically, what they did was they killed as many of Germans as they could, cut the phone lines, cut the electricity. I mean, they really thought this out. And basically what they did was they just ran for the gates. They just ran. And they knew that a lot of them were going to die. They knew this, so they just ran, and they just pushed the gates down and just, headed for the woods. And a lot of them actually made it and actually lived to old age, and because they had escaped this. And they said, make sure that, make sure whoever makes it, make sure, that you tell what's going on. But from my understanding, what actually happened was, because of the strife between the communists And even though they were allies, Russia and all of these places, Russia basically, and the Soviet Union basically, were allies, but they really didn't trust each other. It was kind of my enemy's enemy is my friend sort of thing. And there was so much mistrust between them that when news of these camps came out, which is what I get from it, when news of these camps did slip out and people did escape and people did talk about it, no one believed them because the allies, the Americans, the French, the English, just thought it was Russian propaganda and vice versa. That this really didn't happen. It wasn't until they all, after D-Day, when they started making their way through, and coming across these places, that they actually, and even then, they really didn't believe it once people had heard about these things. And plus, too, it was much easier to keep those kind of secrets back then. I always joke about the technology these kids nowadays are, but one good thing about the technology era that we live in now is that you can't get away with stuff like that. Okay, you can't get away with shooting some kid down in the middle of the street. Everybody's got a camera, you know. Um, of course, the big machine can cover it up and do whatever they want about it, but it's no more word of mouth. And a lot of these people who ended up in these camps and things came from tiny little towns where there was no electricity, there was no cars, there were no street lights. They had a radio, maybe, and they didn't know what was happening to them. But at this camp, they did rebel. They um, just sacrificed, and just made them ways. And I think what's so striking about that story to me is that I think what really touches me, I think um, the um, um, the concept of so many people dying, 6 million, I mean, children, 1.5 million little babies, little children in their mother's arms. I think that's too horrible for me to grasp. But I think the horrifying part about it, the whole thing to me, is that the head games they played with them. The head games the Nazis played with them. Oh, you're going in the shower and making the Jews themselves actually do all the dirty work. And uh, the lies they told them, and then they took their things and sorted them out. And one of the scenes in the movie was, which was, it was pretty much based on fact, a lot of that, was this man, he gets the one man gets to the camp and he doesn't realize it's a death camp, and he goes, well, where are all the women and children, where'd they go, and then they have to tell him, look, if they went to the shower, then they're dead. And the other man was telling him, said, well, um, I was working in the sorting room, and that is when I realized my wife and my children were dead, because I came across their clothes, because they would tell the people, well, bring all this stuff because it's a resettlement, camp, work camp, and just bring all your valuables because you'll need them when you start over. And they sorted through their things and they sent the money to Switzerland, the gold out of the people's teeth and their wedding rings and their menorahs and their jewelry and watches and all that stuff. They sorted all that kind of stuff up and they sent a lot of stuff to Switzerland. And it's probably still some of it there, and to the Vatican also. And they would send the clothing and anything, shoes, anything like that, back to Germany for the German people to use. So, and then they work these people in factories for armaments, and Albert Speer used a lot of these people in construction because they didn't have to worry about them. They didn't have to worry about them. They could just work them to death, and there were some more, and they didn't have to feed them anything. The only thing they had to do was give them enough so they could, barely be able to work, and that kind of thing. So now I'm getting depressed. So I'm gonna stop, and when I come back, I like the shadow of earrings on there. I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk a little bit about the last book of Native Son and a little bit about the new book. and I'll see you guys later.